So here we are. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm actually freaking. I can't believe I'm doing this. I just. So. Today's the 26th of December, which means there are only 5 days. As of the day I'm recording this, there are 5 days in 2020. There's a mouse in my way. There are 5 days left, and I want to go back and review the last 360 because, much like myself, 2020 was hard for a lot of people. It was hard on friends, family, neighbors, and I'm not going to let that get in the way of what I'm going to talk about today. But this year for me, this year for a lot of people had it had a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and a lot of in between. A lot of bad happened this year. The bad being CV or COVID or Corona or whatever you want to call it. This virus that has been struck down by the news, by the media, by social media, just by everyone, has been the biggest pandemic, basically, since, I don't know, the last one I can think of was 9/11, but the fact that I got to live through this really taught me a lot. Because on my side of the story, I found work just down the street, actually. I work at a grocery store. I'm not going to give the name of it, but I work at a grocery store. And I started in their service deli department. And it was a really rough start. I started working there late January, I want to say going into February. The start of 2020 was when I got my job. I'm like, this year's going to be great. I have a job. I'm going to work my butt off. This is going to be a good year. Then it hit. A lot of people lost their jobs. And a lot of people came to my store. Because during this whole pandemic, I myself and everyone working in that store were, the word is evading my mind right now. What is the name? What is the name? Oh, everyone in that store, hold on, let me try that again. Everyone in that store that I work in everyone at the store that I work at, including myself, we are all essential workers. We have to be there, just standing, just staring. We're just staring death in the face, basically, that's what people want you to think, is you're staring death right in the face. Coronavirus could be anywhere. It's not. It's not. It's basically, well, for some people, it's just a common cold, but I understand for a lot of other people, it was super deadly. It was a virus that attacked I believe it was a virus that attacked your immune system. I'm not going to get into that because I have no idea what it actually does, but it was rough for me because being an essential worker, I had to be there. Like, I had to be there, so it felt like I had obligations. I had responsibilities. I couldn't call in a sick day when I'd feel bad, even though I've never called a sick day to this day because I've never had to. I felt like I had to be there. So whenever my boss would call me, wanting me to come in because someone called it out, being sick, or they couldn't make it, I would be the first one they'd call because they could trust me. They trusted me to be there to help them, which was a blessing and a curse, because that meant very rarely will I ever get a full day to rest. Very rarely will I ever get a day to just sit down and just shut the world down. But it was at the same time being the blessing, I was there. People recognized how much of a hard worker I was. So with that, I have a lot of good rep at that store, but with that good rep comes more responsibility. Like, I should be there more if they called in, because I've only said no twice to being called in. The other, like, 50 times they've ever called me in, only 2 times I've said no. They were both for very obvious reasons. The first one being I was moving out of my old apartment, going into a new one in the store, and my old boss called me in, wanted me to come in for work, and I said no. I can't. I have things to do today, because I had things I wanted to do that day with friends, and work would be getting in the way of that. So I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. Second time, also, I was gonna hang out with family, which I very rarely do now because I'm working all the time, and my schedules they shift themselves, so I don't ever know what days I'm gonna get off. But it's hard. It's been hard working this year. I think I just got a really rough job. Like, I got a really, really rough job that requires a lot from you. Like, working at that store is not for the faint of heart. It is, you have to be on your toes. You have to be on your toes a lot. And it's draining. It's draining. But with work, moving into that department, deli, I met a lot of friends who I still know to this day, and friends who I will never forget because, well, I have problems with that. I'll get into that in a different discussion, in a different topic. Sorry about my squeaky chair, by the way. I'll get into a different discussion about friends, but let's just say there are a couple friends who I've worked with who I care about too much. I care about them too much that I can't get them off my mind. And that's a problem with me, with a lot of people, is I can't get certain people off my mind. And it hurts me because I want to be there to help them. But also being homeschooled, it was nice for me to get out of the house and be around other people who are actually my age, because being around other people meant me being around like 60 or 70-year-old guys singing in a circle. But I finally got to meet people who are like my age and make friends with them. Like Nick, for instance. Nick is a good friend of mine. He will probably be friends for a really long time. I don't know. I don't know. Nick is a great guy, and I love him to death. We're both freaks when it comes to Pokemon cards. That's just us, though. Like, yeah. By the way, Nick, I still want that Charizard. Please? Please. But then there are people outside my department, like all the courtesy clerks. All the courtesy clerks knew me. And like we've had our current courtesy clerks for a long time, and they all know me. That's the thing. They all know me. And like whenever it's like, it's so weird now. Because when I wanted to move out of my department, our new assistant store director pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I can get you into a new department, but it would have to be immediate because they're shorthanded." Which they were, and we are still now. But work's been nice. It has been really nice moving departments. Here's to 9 more months in the store, right? But like, there are friends of mine who go to college from work. They go to college. And because of that, I don't know why. I'm not going to name any names. But because I don't get to see them, I hurt less, if that makes sense. because they're off on campus, I can rest. But when they're around me and they're close to me, because I literally know where they live literally right next to the store I work at. But whenever I feel close to them, literally I feel close, it hurts me because I don't want to make the wrong move. I have problems with that. It was a one-time thing, and I don't want it to happen again. This year mentally for me has been rough. This year mentally for me has been the worst year of my life. Like, mentally, starting off at that job was hard because I would be the only one there by 9:30. I would be the only one in that department. The store at the time during the pandemic would be closed because we had to close early because people kept coming in just taking everything. So we had to close early, so I'd be the only one there closed, and it was just mentally tolling on me. It obviously got better once I knew what I was doing, and I got to learn more and more as time went on, but needless to say, it was hard, and I've had a lot of doubt this year. Luckily, I've grown out of it, and I've come back to this. And I actually feel good. I haven't felt as good in basically the 7 months of me working over there. The reason I say 9 is because we changed managers, and I'm not going to get into that debacle, but it's been tough. It's been really hard. Mentally, I started doing something that I've never done. Logging. And I just have notes sitting in the back of my notebook, just chilling there. Pages. But the thing is, you guys don't get to hear the full stories because I stopped. It's inverted, so it's not going to look as good. But I stopped on June 30th logging my work experience. And unfortunately, you guys won't be able to see or hear the rest of those stories, but the reason why I say you won't be able to hear or see the rest of those stories is because I've completely blocked them out of my mind. Work for me was a nebulous construct. That's why it's felt like the year's just gone by so fast. Was, oh, I gotta go to work? Okay. I'm home now. What happened? Like, I would completely block out work. I would obviously be there for the moment, but once it was all gone, it was wiped from the files. It was be gone. I don't remember most of my work days. And obviously, now I still really don't. It's really just in the moment, but I have a lot of moments from work that will remain. If you ever ask, or if you ever hear about redneck deli cleaning from me, that was fun. That was fun. Speaking of really awesome people, a shout out to someone who has been with me this whole year, working with me. Obviously, he couldn't work with me every day, but because of schedule, because of college and managers. But a guy I want to give a huge shout out to this year for helping me out, being a pal, being a brother when I needed him to be, was Gabe from work. Gabe was one of the funniest guys, one of the most wholesome guys I ever knew at that store. And it would mean so much to me to work with him. There were so many people who I'd love to work with, and then obviously there were the people who almost drove me up to the brink of insanity. That's annoying, but Gabe was a brother. He was awesome. and I love him to death for it. He's been there with me. Like, there would be days where people would call out sick and they'd have to close the department, so that would leave only Gabe to close. But I would still be there, so I'd be like, "Hey, I mean, I'm still here. I would be working 10 hours today, but you know what? I'm down for it. I don't want to leave Gabe alone." So that's what I did. I helped him out when he needed to. When he would call out for certain things. There was one day he called out because family, there was a problem with family, and he called me 30 minutes before his shift was supposed to start. And I was standing in the parking lot of the store that I worked in. So I had to drive home, get dressed, go into work because I didn't want to let him down. I did it for him, for his scheduling, even though I was there and he wasn't. I did it for him. Not even the guys who were working there currently, but I went because Gabe was struggling. Needless to say, the same day he called me wanting me to work his shift was the same day I worked by myself in that department to close. So by 7 o'clock, I was the only one in that department. I was alone, but I still got out on time, basically because it was dead. No one was coming up, and I felt good. That made me feel good in multiple occasions because I was almost done with my closing and Gabe came in to talk to me about what was happening. And he was wondering, how behind are you? That was the thing he asked me, was how behind are you? I go, I'm not behind. In fact, I'm actually ahead because I have everything shut down. I just have to clean off the floors. And he was really surprised because if you can make it easier on yourself, you should. That's the main motto with any department you're working in any kind of circumstances. If you can make it easier on yourself, do it. But it made me feel good knowing that I helped someone out who couldn't be at work. I helped the store being there. Even though I was the only one there, I was still there to get the job done. And that's a problem with me, is I can't leave until the job is done. That's why that's why so many people looked up to me, was I could not leave. Like, I physically could not leave. It was my choice, not the store's. I could not physically leave until the job was done. And that's just how I was. So I want to say her name so badly, but I'm not going to. I don't know if that's insulting to her, but 3 months into my work year, we got new hires in the store. One of them, and they were sisters. One of them worked in my service deli, and the other one was a courtesy clerk because she couldn't be in any other departments because she was too young, basically. So she could only be a courtesy clerk. But I worked with the older sister so much and so long that I've grown a connection to her. And the problem is, it feels unsteady. Like, I feel like if I say something wrong, then it's just gonna shatter. That's why I'm afraid of being around her. She's one of the greatest workers in the deli, and she will be, but I don't want to screw it up. We have a good friendship, stable, and I don't want to mess that up, so I keep my mouth shut. Same thing with the younger sister. I feel like we have a really stable connection and a good friendship, and I don't want to ruin that because I'm going to say something stupid or something like that. And it's just hard for me with that kind of stuff. Can you tell this is unscripted? I'm literally just thinking things off the top of my head. Oh my gosh, the day. Hold on a minute. I gotta get this out. So, took my thing off. I took off my cover, so I gotta put it back on first. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. La-da-da, la-da-da. Amen, amen. Namero. I don't know Japanese. Can you tell I don't know Japanese? Because I'm literally just making noises. You know what? It's fine. We'll just work with this. Oh, wait. Did I get it? I think I sort of got it. Maybe? You know what? We're just gonna roll with it. I'm kind of annoyed, but we're gonna work with it. Stop it. Stop it. Here we go. So that highlighted bit there on my notes. This was from the day. I cannot remember what day it was, but I remember this was a starting point for me. This was a milestone. For terrible reasons, it was a milestone, but it's a milestone nonetheless. Let me read it real quick. I'm going to read this for you guys because I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable enough reading this to you guys. And this was during the darkest day of my life. This was a really bad day for me. I literally just sat in my room, depressed, out of my mind. And I came out of it with this. And it reads, "My life is a mistake. I feel like I only bring people pain and misery. I have thoughts of I should just leave or things that are worse. I'm in so much pain. I'm better off if I didn't exist. Why am I here? This hurts. I'm numb. It feels like a routine, a never-ending cycle, and I can't escape this loop. Help me." And I want to highlight. Can I highlight this? I'm gonna try. I'll do it off camera, but the phrase of "I'm numb" is the realest phrase of this year, because being at that work environment just did not do it for me. Like there just came to a point where I couldn't emotionally just function. All my emotions shut down. I had to cut myself off in order to work decent, in order to be a decent worker. And obviously, it came with consequences. That was my consequence. I finally came out of my depression and I thought to myself, what am I doing? What can I do now? I need to improve myself. I just realized this is on the same day my old boss called me in for work, and I said no. Because anytime I'd get a day off for work, I would have it in the back of my head and it'd be like, you're going to have to work today. She's going to call you. You're going to have to work today. You're not going to get a day off. You have to work today. And it'd be every day I had a day. It would be every day I had a break from work. I would have those moments. And obviously the days that I had to work weren't that big of an issue because I knew I had to work that day. So if I got called in early, that was fine. But it was still hard. It was still emotionally nothing. There was nothing in the drain. It was just... Needless to say, my old boss doesn't work at our store anymore. She didn't get fired, but she just doesn't work at our store. And knowing that she's gone takes a huge weight off my shoulders. And I'm going to say it because that's true. Working with her was honestly hard because I felt like I was her best. Even though I wasn't her best, she knew a whole bunch of people who were really good at their job, but I was just one of them. And the people who have been with me this whole year, being at that store changed my life in so many different ways. My musical path has branched so far because I've learned so much more about myself as a musician. And I love music and I want to learn how to play an instrument. But I have a piano in my closet back there. I'm going to get that out one day and I'm just going to play it. I'm going to learn. And then I just want to be a musician. I want to be a musician. If I can, I want to be a coach. I want to be a vocal coach. I have no idea how much I've loved to judge people in their vocals than when I learned about vocal coaching. And it's just ridiculous. And then another passion that I've grown to appreciate is photography, which is I appreciated just taking photos of things. One of the most recent photos I took was me holding the moon in my hands. If I can, I'll put it up, but that photo is just, it's good. And there's so many different photos, I don't know, it's just something that I feel as though I enjoy. It's something I love to do. And that's why I want to stream. That's why I want to try and stream on either this platform that you're watching on right now or others. But I feel as though I want to do something like this. This is what... I've planned doing this video all week. But obviously it's unscripted because I'm just rambling and I'm thinking of random things to say. But I've wanted to do this video. And this was an idea that just came to my head. And I want to write music. I'm currently in the process of writing a song. And it's also in my notes. I'm gonna just post here. So it's the second one. I'm currently in the works of writing a song, and I need to talk to my buddy about it, but I want to write that song because it's driven me. I wanted to write it all year, and then getting out of that department drove me even more to make it, and 2021 is going to be weird. I don't know how to expect 2021. Here's what happened. Everyone expected 2020 to be an amazing year for the human race, for technology, and obviously 2020 was a good year for technology because we made so much technology. We've upgraded so much this year. Technology's come such a long way from 2010 to 2020. But people thought this year was going to be a year to remember. And it is a year to remember. Just not in the sense that they want to think. And I don't know how to expect 2021, but I wanted to make this video capping off 2020. And I want to come back to this video at the end of every year. And if you guys want to, please come back to this video every year and just recap what happened last year or the year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Just I want to make this a reminder of 2020, not just for myself, but for a lot of other people. Because this year has been hard for a lot of people. A lot of people were lost. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their homes. A lot of people lost like pretty much everything. And like I say this to myself every night. I am fortunate enough to have a window to look out. I'm fortunate enough to have a bed to sleep on. I'm fortunate enough to have a roof over my head. So, what else should I be happy for? This software that I'm recording on? This phone that I have? Prescriptions so I can actually see instead of being blind? If you're watching this video, you're lucky enough to watch this video. You're here. Whatever you're watching this on, be thankful for what you're watching this on. Be thankful that you're here. Be thankful that 2020 is over and we don't have to worry about this anymore. Obviously, CV is still here and it's still sweeping the nation, but we've come so far. Back in the day, or back when the year started, when the pandemic really hit, people were terrified. People didn't want to even go outside. Now, everyone's wearing masks outside. Everyone is functioning normally. And we're making advancements to beat this virus, to beat this pandemic. And that's what 2021 I feel like is going to be, is we're going to beat this pandemic sooner than later. I don't know. I don't want to get political on this video at all. I don't know what Biden is going to do these next coming years. But whatever he does, he's going to do. And like, I mean, I'm not the president. I can't tell him what to do. But yeah. I have nothing else to say for this video, but this video will forever go down in history as one of my favorite videos to make ever. It's just, this is how it's going to be. 2020's over. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We're done. It's gone. We have to move on now. Like, what do we move on to? I don't know, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the advancements that we're going to make this next couple of years. And you should be too. Here's to the new year. 2021. Let's make it better. For everyone.